it would be nice if I was able to start this a little bit earlier, but I was not able to start this a little bit earlier. So I'm working with the time that I have and with the thoughts that I had prior to pressing start to formulate what exactly I'm going to talk about. So I was reading the Bible today because ever since I said that I wanted to do it and kind of publicized it even more than I already have, like I've spoken about this with other people, I've spoken about the desire to do so with other people, just like I've spoken about me wanting to dive into different belief systems, to just find out more about different belief systems, to kind of like pay homage to every different one, because there's so many different kinds and they all kind of point to belief or faith in something, belief or faith in a being or beings, and these beings represent different things. These beings and the story behind the beings kind of focus on afterlife, they focus on principles, good, evil, balance, such and such. So I've been reading Genesis because I was recommended to start with a certain part that I forget now. But I was like, no, I want to start it from the beginning. I want to start it fresh. Isn't that ironic? I want to start it at the beginning when that's literally Genesis itself. Yeah, no pun intended, literally. No pun intended. Now, yesterday I did say that if I ended up writing something that I would share it today. And I believe I did, but I don't really know how I feel about it, but I'm still just gonna share it. Oh, but it definitely correlates to the images that I shared in the other video. So, flowers can bloom in a dark room, nurtured by the light of the Most High, embraced by shades of isolation, hiding until you've blossomed into who it is you are. You grew in a dark room, reflected by a small showing of the moon. Time came around, but not soon, as you tugged at the roots of your being, with eyes of faith guiding every move. To bloom is a natural occurrence, as externals, to witness your exit. To witness you exit your gloom. Aww. I'm saying all because I couldn't, or I didn't. Not that I couldn't, because I can. But I didn't finish it off the way I wanted to. Because I got choked up with externals. Forgot I added that. And maybe that part isn't even supposed to be in that. That's perhaps why. I'm going to go into my other writings, though. My writings, aka my notes for today, for what I've read. I have one that goes, the seventh day is Sabbath day, a mark of completion. He placed his stamp to declare a whole that he has made. 7 days, all with which are blessed, yet to complete each until you reach the end is a gift in itself. It's like its own mark of gratitude. Gracious for a life to live, and gracious for the cycle and structure of time to repeat. I'm not in an explaining mood, so if you understand it, that's wonderful. But it won't be explained if you don't. I'm open to explaining it at a later time if necessary, but I feel like it's kind of clear compared to other things that I've made. But I have another one, and it goes, every day, everything was finished. The birth to it all was complete, all within the seventh day. Oh no! Okay. Everything was finished. The birth to it all was complete, all within 7 the days in a week. For another perspective, it's a nice representation of how we are already whole, or what we seek is already engraved in our being. You seek what you have until you realize the code has been within you all along. Yet it takes years upon years to unlock doors that were meant for you, that have gifted to you, that were gifted to you by your creation itself. I'm tripping over my words, and you know what? I know exactly why I'm tripping over my words. It's because I'm trying to rush this out. Like, it's something that I wanted to share, but like every day, girl, what? Like every day, like I said yesterday, I'm not planning these because I want to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because to an extent, it is uncomfortable to come on here and not know what it is that I want to talk about. But at the same time, it's like that notion, or making it clear that you actually have something to talk about. And it can quite literally be anything, just like it is anything right now. Like, you can fill in the space, but you also don't have to fill in the space in every given second of the video. Just like within a conversation, you don't have to fill the space or fill the void just because things have gone quiet. And that's just showing of your comfort with the quiet. So, bringing that understanding and bringing that practice that I do practice into making these, that's why I'm so comfortable with pausing in these, actually. But what I do realize, and I'm slowing down right now, is that I do talk fast, especially when I'm trying to get something out, for the heck of creating something every day. That's the thing. Like, I'm on a roll, and I don't want to sabotage myself, or, I mean, anything can quite literally be sabotage. This could be sabotage. However, I find that it's not, because it's not me seeking perfection. It's just me seeking creation. It's just me seeking action. And it's not a seek if it's something that I'm doing. It's just me releasing. Release, release, release. Express, express, express. To gather myself. To be more comfortable. Yeah. You know, I was in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom thinking about what the heck I would say, generally speaking, and the lecture that I was in today came up in my mind, because the lecture was about separation. The lecture was about divorce, which is separation of a union. And the fact that I'm reading Genesis and I'm learning about the creation of man and woman, and I'm learning about the Garden of Eden and the tree of life and knowledge of good and evil. Learning about that. What the heck? I was going somewhere with this, and I'm still gonna post this. I feel like this is so freaking human right now, because what? I have the... Man. Shoot, but that's what I like about these videos. They're very conversational. This is very much likely to happen in life when you're having a conversation with somebody And then it's there. And then it slips away. It slips away, I tell ya. Union. Separation. Restriction. Demanding. Informing Adam to not eat the apple because he surely will die. But that's not why I wanted to bring it up. Because I had a connection on the freaking toilet about how we were made, and it kind of just correlates to my questions about why Adam was told not to eat the fruit that bears from that tree in the first place. And not in a judging God's way or God's process with creation and with the instructions that he gave and the things that he said to and to not do. It's just from a curiosity point. So let me try and see if I could pull up what the heck I'm meaning behind all of this. Because I definitely had a direction that I was going with this. I'm kind of upset that it's not coming to my mind, but hey, it's not coming to my mind, so. Tree of life. Like, I just basically had a question about, okay, how, hold on. Is anybody else, like, able to come up with questions and such for things? Having to recount those questions, though, is not the easiest. Like, is anybody else like that? Like, you write things and you feel more comfortable with what it is that you've written, but not necessarily with what it is that you, when you're trying to say or explain something. Oh, and I had something else that I wrote too, but it was in the Bible app. I said, "To dusk we return at the end of earthly existence. The breath of life is perhaps all around us as I think about the creation of trees with which we receive our oxygen from on this earth that God has made. Roots represent the needs to ground, and cutting the plant that grows from these roots essentially cuts the ability off of a tree's ability to grant the breath of life. To dusk we return amongst the trees, and we are of aid to creatures with abodes in the soil. We belong to the cycle of life." And that little thing just came from Genesis 2:7. "Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person." This is from the NLT one, not a different version. But geez Louise, like, where is this? This is important to understand as you think about the essence behind humans and what it is we are infused with. Really think about what it means to be made in the image of God. What is God's image or God's vision? What is godly or holy? These are things, descriptors of our God. What does God mean or intend to mean in creating us in his image? We are his children. At least that's what I've come to understand from sayings. We are beings with which he created. We came from him. Like father, like son, like daughter, like father. But this is me just not even really on task with what I'm trying to say. We're gonna get to the connection. Just hold on. Right now, we're just gonna call this a here are my random thoughts. Here are my random thoughts that I noted down as I read the Bible, as I read Genesis. Yep. And watch me try to figure out the point or connection that I was making from something that I learned in class or the concept that I learned in class today to aspects and elements of Genesis that I've read. Yeah, just watch me try to figure out what's going on up here. And then yeah, but just know it's because in a way I'm rushing. Yeah. Freaking yeah. Freak yeah. Like, I wrote something about this line. Now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame. That applies to our day and age in a way that we are ashamed to be naked in various aspects. Nakedness does not just apply to the physical, but it applies to the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. To be naked is not to be without defenses. At least, I don't think it is. I think nakedness is a defense in itself. It's a pure and or natural way or symbolism of acceptance, which is one of the first layers one requires in their armor. To get fitted for your armor, one must know the body that it shall lay upon and know its form to the 10th degree. Yeah. You know what? Forget what I was even trying to say, man. Actually, no. I still want to know. I still want to understand what I was trying to say. Too slightly upset. Like, where were you going with this, Lakaya? Separation and divorce. Man and woman. Separation and divorce. Destruction of a union. Man and woman. And it probably had something to do with nakedness. But it also probably didn't. And I may be thinking about how women were created, even though I technically have some questions about that too. Because I'm not reading this in a church. I'm not getting the church interpretation of the Bible. I'm quite literally sitting here reading and thinking about all it is that I know in this life so far. And to know things is to know that you don't really know a lot of things in this life. But I'm taking what it is that I know and I'm trying to interpret it. And I'm trying to see it as a story now, not as a story in a way where it like belittles the existence of the Bible, the existence of the word. It belittles or it distorts the word itself, but in a way where I'm recognizing this is a story. Like these are stories that I'm being told. This is a background. This is information that I'm being told. And this information can connect to so many different things. Just like any concept can connect to so many different things. And honestly, that's how you lock in what you know. By being able to connect it to various things, various concepts. So I'm trying to just interpret it, and not in a way where it's not being honored, but not in a way where I'm like, not to say I don't believe, but trying to look behind the lines, behind the things that show up multiple times in the Bible so far. Even if it's small things, I'm trying to find the symbolism behind those things. This is requiring me to think and not rely on other people to tell me what it is or what it isn't. And that's not to say that my interpretation is going to be 100% correct. I don't think that's true. And I think that's what eventually learning other people's interpretation or learning more religious interpretations of the word will come into play and will help. However, I am doing this for myself. Like, I am doing this for my own relationship with God. I am doing this because I do think that learning helps me understand more, helps me receive a better picture about what it is to know God. Now, it wouldn't be me and it wouldn't be honest to not acknowledge the fact that I have not grown up where it's trusted. The Bible itself, I've not grown up where it's trusted. And perhaps that's something else that's encourages me to learn about various religious belief systems, because it wasn't supported, and I understand the history behind it not being supported in my family, and I take that with me as I interpret it too. I take that with me, but I recognize the essence of certain things, you know? But hey, this whole thing will be a learning experience. I'm reading this to learn to better understand, to better connect. Because like those in my family, I also believe in God. And I personally want to see and mend the relationship that I have with the one that I believe in. I think it's necessary. So yeah, without even going into what I was trying to go into or trying to figure out what connection I was trying to make, I'm going to stop this video. This is one of those videos where I know that I don't necessarily like it all that much, but hey, it's me. I stumble. I'm not always going to speak clearly. I will forget things. It's a normal thing. At the end of the day, I'm human. So, Toodaloo. Yup.